limit distraction. You can make it easier to focus on the meeting by turning off notification, closing or minimizing running application, and muting your smartphone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. The distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah, STM Engineering, Director of Research and Community Service, Ministry of Research and Technology, National Research and Innovation Agency. The distinguished Chief of LL Dikti Region 4 West Java and Banten, Professor Dr. Uman Suherman, ASMPD. The distinguished Chairman of Sasmita Jaya Foundation, Dr. Honoris Causa Haji Darsono. The distinguished Rector of Pamulang University,
Bapak BU, mohon maaf, MC akan masuk kembali.
The distinguished Professor Nesimi Ertugrul, Senior Lecturer School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, the University of Adelaide, South of Australia. The distinguished plenary speakers for ICORST, Dr. R.R. Dewi Anggraini, Master of Law, the four Vice Rectors of Universitas Pamulang, Dr. Haji Muhammad Zahari Ismail, Director of Polytechnic Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah, Malaysia, Profesor Dr. Kirilova Galiza Ildosovna, Senior Lecturer, Kazan Federal University, Tatarstan, Russia. And the honorable guest, speakers, parallel The distinguished plenary speakers for ICORST, Professor Jung Jae-chon, PhD, Director of Technical Engineer Program at KEPCO International Nuclear Graduate School, South Korea, Professor Nesimi Ertugrul, Senior Lecturer, School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, the University of Adelaide, South of Australia. And the distinguished plenary speakers for ICORST, Dr. R.R. Dewi Anggraini, Master of Law, the fourth Vice Rectors of Pamulang University, Dr. Haji Muhammad Zahari Ismail, Director of Polytechnic Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah, Malaysia, Profesor Dr. Kirilova Galiza Ildosovna, Senior Lecturer, Kazan Federal University, Tatarstan, Russia. And the honorable guests, speakers, parallel presenters, and all participants in Zoom meeting room and the audience who are watching live streaming on YouTube. And we honored by your presence. For ICORST, we have many parallel presenters from abroad. They are Marinduku State College, Philippines, University Technology Malaysia, Amity Global Institute Singapore, Kazan Federal University Russia, Department of Commerce Ramtakul College India, Mapua University Philippines, and then for ICORST tomorrow, we have many parallel presenters from abroad, such as Huiza School China, Lincoln University College Malaysia, Phan Lang University Vietnam, Gombe State University, Nigeria, and many presenters from state and private universities in Indonesia with fully respect who cannot be mentioned one by one. It is our privilege to welcome you to the first international conference on research in science and technology and the first international conference on research in social sciences and humanities. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and merciful, all praises to him for his blessing that we are able to attend this highly anticipated event in online conference by Zoom meeting to embrace the first ICORST upon the theme Enhancing Research and Innovation for Sustainable Development toward Society 5.0, and for the first ICORST upon the theme Building Quality Human Resources through Research and Innovation toward Society 5.0, October 27th and 28th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference is organized by Institute for Research and Community Service of University of Pamulang with co-host Stikas Widya Dharma Husada, STEMIC RSA, Institut Pendidikan Indonesia Garut, Universitas Lambung Mangkurat, Universitas Al-Muslim, Universitas Muhammadiyah Tasikmalaya, Universitas Pelita Bangsa, Lincoln University College, and Polytechnic Malaysia. And this event is broadcast live streaming on YouTube. My name is Eka Margianti Sagimin as your Master of Ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to roll call our agenda today. The first is opening ceremony, continued by Indonesian National Anthem, opening prayers, report by the Chair of Organizing Committee, welcoming speeches by Chairman of Sasmita Jaya Foundation, opening remark by Rector, opening and inauguration speech by Chief of LL Dikti Region 4, keynote speech, plenary presentations, parallel session, and closing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start our agenda by saying Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our next agenda is reciting Holy Quran and opening prayer by Qari Ustadz Haji Sofyan Hadi MA. Mr. Sofyan, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Eka. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا وسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا. واذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا وسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا وسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا. هو الذي يصلي عليكم وملائكته ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور وكان بالمؤمنين رحيما. وكان بالمؤمنين رحيما. هو الذي يصلي عليكم تحيتهم يوم يلقونه سلام وأعد لهم أجرا كريما تحيتهم يوم يلقونه سلام وأعد لهم أجرا كريما تحيتهم يوم يلقونه سلام وأعد لهم أجرا كريما صدق الله العظيم. Sadaqallahul azim. Sejenak mari kita bersama-sama berdoa munajat kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Semoga kiranya acara kita mendapatkan ridha dan kesuksesan dari Allah Subhanahu wa taala dan diberikan pula keberkahan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahi ma sya Allah. La yasuqul khaira illa Allah. Bismillahi ma sya Allah. La yasrifu su'a illa Allah. Bismillahi ma sya Allah. Ma kana min ni'matin famin Allah. Bismillahi ma sya Allah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa li'azimi sultanik. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa liwalidayna warhamhuma kama rabbayana shighara wa li jami'il mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat al-ahya'i minhum wal amwat. Allahumma aghnina bil ilmi wa zayyinna bil hilmi wa akrimna bit taqwa wa jammilna bil afiyah bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma ya Allah, anugerahkanlah untuk kami ya Allah ilmu pengetahuan yang senantiasa membawa manfaat dan maslahat bagi kami dan juga bagi seluruh umat manusia ya Allah dan juga untuk alam ini. Allahumma ya Allah, anugerahkanlah kepada kami kekuatan untuk mengamalkan segala ilmu pengetahuan yang Engkau anugerahkan untuk sebesar-besarnya membawa kepada kemanfaatan dan kemaslahatan sehingga mampu membangun negeri kami, membangun masyarakat kami, membangun peradaban kami menuju masyarakat yang adil, makmur, sejahtera dan senantiasa dalam naungan ridha dan rahmah-Mu. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas sami'ul alim wa tub 'alaina innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina 'adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Terima kasih. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Pak Sofyan. Semoga acara ini berjalan dengan lancar. Amin, amin ya robbal alamin. Ladies and gentlemen, the following agenda is Indonesia National Anthem, Indonesia Raya. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the following agenda is welcoming speech and report by organizing committee. Please welcome Mr. Ibnu Sina, MSc.
Thank you, Madam MC. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, I would like to greeting or salam to all of you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And may peace be upon to you all. Esteemed speaker, committees, and all participants of ICORST 2020, we would like to extend our warmest welcome to all of the participants, and most important things for your trust in Institute of Research and Community Service, University of Pamulang, to conduct this important event. It provides a forum for presenting and discussing the latest innovation, result, and development in computer sciences, physics, chemical engineering, environmental, education, industrial engineering, and other related topics. The ICOST 2020 will be hosted as a fully virtual conference this year, which will be held via the Zoom event platform. Your participation is central to the success of this type of conference, and we are looking forward to working with you to make this conference enjoyable and valuable as we can. The international conference held this time is joined by more than 6 provinces in Indonesia and 8 nations in the world, such as Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, India, China, Philippines, Nigeria, and Russia. This gives a significant meaning in driving the progress of knowledge for all participants. Without your participation in this conference will not be accessible as it is. I believe that we all will take a lot of benefits from this conference. And I also believe that your contribution as a speaker and participant will have an impact on the development of our country. I wish we will have an enjoyable conference. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Ibnu Sina, MSc. And then the next agenda is opening remark by Rector of Universitas Pamulang. Please welcome Dr. Haji Dayat Hidayat, MM.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Allahumma shalli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi washabihi wa barik wasallam. Yang mulia dan dirahmati oleh Allah, Bapak Ketua Yayasan, Pak Kepala LLDP 4 Jawa Barat Banten, kemudian Profesor Dr. Heri Hermansyah, para tamu, para undangan, dan para narasumber semuanya. Alhamdulillah kita bersyukur pada Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Di pagi ini event besar yang dilaksanakan oleh Universitas Pamulang menyelenggarakan international seminar. Sungguh luar biasa, kami merasa bangga, gembira. Tentu ini untuk teman-teman semuanya harus betul-betul dimanfaatkan kesempatan yang besar seperti ini. Pertama, kami mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Bapak Kepala LDP Wilayah 4 Jawa Barat Banten, kepada Prof. Heri yang telah menyempatkan waktu untuk bersama-sama hadir dalam agenda seminar internasional di Universitas Pamulang, serta para narasumber, seluruh para narasumber. Sungguhnya kami akan merasa gembira dan bahagia manakala besok lusa ketika suasana sudah bagus bisa hadir dan diselenggarakan di kampus Universitas Pamulang. Ini menjadi suatu kebanggaan dan kegembiraan. Saya ingin sampaikan informasi sedikit tentang Universitas Pamulang kepada para narasumber dan kepada para peserta webinar bahwa Universitas Pamulang berada di Kota Tangerang Selatan, Provinsi Banten. Saat ini Universitas Pamulang memiliki mahasiswa sebanyak 84.000 mahasiswa dengan 2.300 dosen. Ini adalah salah satu lembaga pendidikan yang relatif masih belia, relatif masih muda, baru 20 tahun. Namun alhamdulillah atas kepercayaan masyarakat dan kemudian upaya serta kerja keras bersama-sama seluruh jajaran, Universitas Pamulang terus berupaya mensejajarkan dengan perguruan tinggi yang lain yang sudah jauh lebih duluan. Dan alhamdulillah kepercayaan masyarakat sampai saat ini begitu tinggi dan ini akan menjadi satu amanah yang luar biasa. Kepada seluruh para peserta, kami ucapkan selamat mengikuti webinar sekali lagi. Kepada teman-teman semuanya, manfaatkan benar. Dan kepada panitia, Pak Ali dan teman semuanya, diharapkan nanti hasil dari proses seminar ini ada luaran-luaran yang bagus yang bisa kita dapatkan, baik dalam jurnal internasional, proceeding, ataupun bentuk makalah yang bisa dipublikasi, dan sebagainya. Saya kira itu yang dapat disampaikan. Sekali lagi, terima kasih kepada semuanya, kepada panitia, kepada jajaran rektorat, para peserta, para narasumber, dan secara khusus kepada Bapak Kepala LLDQ Wilayah 4. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih. Terima kasih kepada Pak Rektor. Berikutnya sambutan sekaligus membuka acara webinar. Opening and inaugurating speech by Chief of LL Dikti Region 4. Please welcome Profesor Dr. Uman Suherman, ASMPD.
Terima kasih Bu Eka. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Pak Rektor, Bapak Dr. Haji Dayat Hidayat, yang sama-sama kita hormati, Profesor Heri selaku Direktur Riset dan Pengabdian pada Masyarakat, Ristek, yang saya hormati, para narasumber baik dari Indonesia maupun dari luar negeri, tercantum ada yang dari Malaysia, India, Cina, kemudian seluruh panitia dan para peserta partisipan webinar dalam bentuk konferensi internasional yang saya banggakan. Alhamdulillah, puji syukur kita panjatkan kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Satu minggu ini ada dua peristiwa yang sangat luar biasa yang dilakukan di Unpam. Yang pertama tentu kemarin dengan launching sistem perankingan mahasiswa, merupakan awal atau merupakan inovasi yang terbaru yang dilaksanakan oleh Unpam dalam mengusung jati diri Unpam sebagai kampus yang tadi dikatakan masih belia, tapi punya sebuah semangat yang sangat menggebu untuk memiliki kesejajaran dengan orang lain. Kemudian hal yang kedua pada hari ini seminar internasional, terima kasih sudah bersama-sama dengan perguruan tinggi yang ada di LLDT 4. Tadi tercantum ada Institut Pendidikan Indonesia, ada Pelita Bangsa, ada Stimik Ereksa, ada Stikes, Dharma Husada atau apa tuh? Ya, dan mudah-mudahan apa yang dilakukan di Unpam ini betul-betul tidak hanya berpikir tentang kualitas sumber daya manusia dalam menuju masyarakat 4.0, tetapi ada beberapa hal yang memang perlu dikedepankan bagi kita sebagai peserta webinar yang sebagian besar adalah dosen. Luaran yang paling baik pada saat kita melaksanakan seminar apapun levelnya tidak hanya dalam bentuk publikasi, tetapi paling tidak mampu meningkatkan kualitas pembelajaran dalam perkuliahan yang kita ampu. Itu yang pertama. Kemudian yang kedua, bagaimana hasil-hasil ini mampu dimanifestasikan dalam kehidupan yang nyata melalui pengabdian masyarakat. Ada dan tidaknya kita pada saat kita sebagai seorang ilmuwan, tidak hanya sebagai pendidik profesional, adalah mampu mengibarkan keilmuan kita di tengah-tengah masyarakat dalam upaya membangun bangsa ini. Oleh karena itu tentu jangan sampai seminar yang sangat bagus dengan level yang sangat istimewa, walaupun mungkin saya masih bisa memberikan sebuah saran, tidak hanya melibatkan universitas dan perguruan tinggi yang lain, mohon dikedepankan sebuah aktivitas yang memiliki level tingkat program studi. Karena bagaimanapun pada saat sebuah aktivitas ada di prodi, universitas akan terbawa. Tapi pada saat level ini universitas, kemudian prodi sebagai penonton, mari kita ke depan ini dibalik begitu. Jadi tingkat universitas sebagai support yang paling utama untuk pelaksanaan budaya akademik termasuk webinar yang ada di tingkat prodi ini harus dikembangkan. Karena bagaimanapun saya selalu punya sebuah pemikiran, kampus yang bagus itu akan terbentuk oleh prodi yang bagus. Oleh karena itu, seminar apapun yang dilakukan di tingkat institusi semestinya juga lebih melibatkan kepada prodi. Walaupun memang peserta itu pasti di prodi, peserta itu pasti dari prodi. Tetapi dalam sebuah bendera dikibarkan prodi dan diusung dan disupport oleh universitas yang sangat tinggi, itu lebih berkontribusi untuk menentukan rankingan ataupun akreditasi yang ada di universitas itu sendiri. Nah, Bapak Ibu hadirin yang saya banggakan, tentu kita ingin bagaimana dari seminar ini karena mengusung menuju masyarakat asosiatif 4.0, maka mau tidak mau bagaimana kita nanti harus menemukan masyarakat Indonesia sumber daya manusia yang berkualitas yang memiliki kecerdasan, flexibility dan adaptability. Mereka mampu hidup dan berinteraksi dalam sosiokultural yang beragam. Kemudian mereka memiliki productivity tapi juga punya sifat accountability. Saya harapkan mereka akan menjadi pemimpin tapi juga memiliki sikap responsibility. Mudah-mudahan dengan cara seperti itu, maka melalui seminar internasional, melalui konferensi internasional yang dituangkan dalam proses perkuliahan yang mengusung manusia seperti itu, maka saya ingin tekankan kita hidup tidak lagi hanya bicara tentang disrupsi teknologi, tapi sekarang lebih mengedepankan literasi humanis yang harus kita kembangkan. Dengan cara seperti itu mudah-mudahan tidak harus menunggu 2045 pada saat kita memiliki bonus demografi yang sangat kuat dan jumlah penduduk kita akan mencapai 300 juta, tetapi mulai sekarang kita perlu membangun sumber daya manusia Indonesia sehingga pada saatnya nanti akan tumbuh generasi yang memang memiliki tanggung jawab, memiliki kepemimpinan yang kuat, memiliki kemampuan komunikasi yang sangat brilian, dan juga mereka menjadi orang-orang yang tidak kaku dalam menghadapi setiap permasalahan bangsa ini. Saya pikir itu yang perlu saya sampaikan. Sekali lagi saya ucapkan selamat kepada Unpam, selamat kepada IP, Pelita Bangsa, STIMIK, Ereksa, dan kampus yang lain. Dan saya ucapkan selamat serta mudah-mudahan Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala senantiasa meridhoi aktivitas yang kita lakukan menjadi bagian dari ibadah sebagai bentuk pengabdian kita terhadap Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Sukses untuk semuanya, dan dengan bersama-sama membacakan basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Konferensi internasional tentang pengembangan sumber daya manusia secara resmi saya nyatakan di kilometer 130 bisa menempatkan background saya bangga, tetapi mohon maaf tidak bisa mengikuti warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Prof.
Sami-sami Pak Rektor.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you for the Chief of LL Dikti Region 4. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the opening and inaugurating speech by Chief of LL Dikti Region 4 symbolizes the first ICORST, and ICORST is officially open. Before going on to the next session, we kindly request you to witness and to be a part of our moments in photo session. I'd like to invite you to open the camera for the photo session, and we kindly ask the committee for assisting this session. Silakan Pak Ibnu.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eka. All participants and speakers, please open your video. Get dressed properly, face to the camera, and I will take a picture each one of you. Okay, there are 7 screens, and I would like to take a picture each screen. Okay. Screen number 1, smile. Screen number 2, smile. Screen number 3. Thank you. Screen number 4. Screen number 5. Thank you. Keep smiling, keep smiling. screen number 6, and the last screen. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Miss Ika.
Thank you, Pak Ibnu, for assisting us to open the camera and then taking the photo. Well, hadirin yang kami hormati, ladies and gentlemen, it is delightful to have the keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah, ST MN, Director of Research and Community Service, Ministry of Research and Technology, National Research and Innovation Agency. Then continue to parallel presentation for invited speakers, Professor Nesimi Ertugrul, Senior Lecturer School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, the University of Adelaide, South of Australia, and Professor Jung Jae-cheon, PhD, Director of Technical Engineer Program at KEPCO International Nuclear Graduate School, South Korea. And this session will be moderated by Mr. Saiful Bahri, MNSG, PhD. But before I call Mr. Saiful, let me read his short profile. Saiful Bahri, MNSG, PhD, is a Dean of Engineering Faculty of Pamulang University. He holds a Master of Electrical and Electronic Engineering from University of Adelaide, Australia, and holds a PhD of Electrical and Electronic Engineering majoring condition monitoring from University of Adelaide, Australia. His research mostly on electrical and electronic, including nuclear research, were published in accredited national and international journal. Without further ado, let us invite Mr. Saiful Bahri, PhD. Pak Saiful, are you ready?
Ya, kedengaran suara saya, Bu Eka?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Eka.
Well, Pak, time is yours, Pak.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the keynote and invited speakers, again, I would like to draw your attention to the following protocols. First one, this conference to be conducted in English. Second one, the participant microphone will be muted here, and discussion, question, and answer will be held at the end of all the presentations. So you may use the chat Zoom feature to ask questions either in English or Indonesian language. I will try to translate later if you are using Indonesians. And please don't forget to include your affiliation or institution over there. And materials of the keynote presentations will be made available, and the link will be provided in the chat feature later on, or you may contact the committee as well. And this conference will be broadcast live via the YouTube channel of the University of Pamulang. Okay, let's start this session. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished Director Intellectual Property Management and Acting Director Research and Community Engagement, Deputy for Strengthening Research and Development, Ministry of Research and Technology, National Research and Innovation Agency, Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah, STMN, the Distinguished Chief of LL Dikti, Region 4, West Java and Banten, Professor Dr. Uman Suherman, ASMPD, Excellencies, Chairman Sasmita Jaya Group Foundation, Dr. Honoris Causa Haji Darsono, Distinguished Chancellor of Universitas Pamulang, Dr. Dayat Hidayat MM, Distinguished Plenary Invited Speaker for ICORST today, Director Technical Engineering Program, KINGS, or KEPCO International Nuclear Graduate School, South Korea, Professor Jung Jae-cheon, PhD, Distinguished Invited Speaker, Senior Lecturer School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, the University of Adelaide, South Australia, Professor Nesimi Ertugrul, and the honorable representative, audience, para presenters, and participants from universities, ministries, industry, and other organizations. Welcome to the keynote speech session, the first international conference on research in science and technology, or the first ICORST 2020, October 27, 2020. My name is Saiful Bahri, and it is my pleasure today to be your moderator for this conference. And again, I would like to acknowledge that this conference is organized by the University of Pamulang, supported by 30 national and international universities, from Malaysia, China, Russia, Taiwan, Nigeria, and India. The theme of our conference today is Enhancing Research Innovation for Sustainable Development Towards Society 5.0. So we have three agenda for the keynote speech sessions. First is a presentation of the keynote speakers and two presentation of invited speakers, followed by discussion, question, and answering. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored today to have the keynote speakers, Acting Director Research and Community Engagement, Deputy for Strengthening Research and Development Ministry of Research and Technology, National Research and Innovation Agency, Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah, STM Inc. Let me briefly introduce the profile of Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah. He graduated with a bachelor degree in the Department of Gas and Petrochemical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, the University of Indonesia, 1998, and a Master of Engineering in 2003, and a Doctor of Philosophy and Engineering in 2006, both from Department of Chemical Engineering, Graduate School of Engineering, Tohoku University, Japan. Prior to the current position, Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah was the Program Director of Smart City, Universitas Indonesia from July 2017 until January 2020, and also the Director of Research and Community Engagement, Universitas Indonesia from June 2016 until January 2019. And he also Associate Dean for the Cooperation, Student, Alumni, and Venture, Faculty of Engineering, Universitas Indonesia from January 2014 until 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, the title of his keynote today is Research and Innovation Towards Society 5.0. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah. Professor, floor is yours. Yeah.
Okay. Baik. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And okay. Baik. Yang terhormat Bapak Ketua Yayasan Sasmita Jaya, Bapak Dr. Honoris Causa Bapak Haji Darsono, ya. Kemudian juga Rektor Universitas Pamulang, Dr. Haji Dayat Hidayat. Nah, ini khas orang Sunda ini ya. Dayat Hidayat ini. Baik. Kemudian yang terhormat Ketua LPPM Sivitas Akademi di Universitas Pamulang. And also others keynote speakers from Korea, Turkey, and Russia. Also, welcome to Indonesia. And yang terhormat Bapak Ketua RLDikti 4, ya, Bapak Profesor Uman Suherman. Wah, ini juga Uman Suherman ini diulang-ulang ini. Ya, Dayat Hidayat Uman Suherman. Ini ciri khas orang Sunda ini ya. Baik. Thank you very much for your invitation, and I really appreciate to Universitas Pamulang, which is begin from a small university, has a strong vision to broaden education for all, without barrier in tuition fee or admission fee. So we can see now Universitas Pamulang become a university which has large student body, yeah. Not only in Jakarta, I think in Indonesia, yeah. It is nice to hear that Universitas Pamulang now has great quantity of the student, and now Universitas Pamulang can proceed to the next level in case of the quality. Yeah. So I believe by establishing international conference, this is the right pathway for Universitas Pamulang to support, to drive the quality of education, the quality of research, and then at the end, it will give the quality of life for the people. Pak Moderator, saya mau memberikan slide dari saya sendiri Pak ya, supaya mudah ininya apa operasinya.
Okay, please,
Baik,
Prof.
Pak.
Please.
Silakan, Pak. Please.
Baik. Oke. Okay, thank you very much. As you know, university and faculty members in Indonesia has three functions. Yeah. First, for education. The second, to conduct the research. Education and research is common in the world. Yeah. Every faculty member do education and do research. But there is one special function in Indonesia, that the faculty member and university must contribute for community services or community engagement. So the faculty member and university must give benefit to society surrounding the university, locally, regionally, or nationally. So the university and the faculty member should fulfill these three requirements in education, in research, and community services to raise their ranking, to measure by performance in their work, yeah, for education, research, and community services. And then in case of research innovation process, we must consider as the whole complete process comprehensively. So, for example, we must consider if we want to proceed the research innovation, first we must consider the inputs. The inputs. We cannot do research and innovation without researcher, without funding, and without supporting infrastructure. So we need a minimum numbers of researchers to conduct research. And then we also need research funding. The research funding can come from government, can come from industry, and also can come from many funders inside and outside this country. And also the university itself can provide research funding from inside university budget to support the match funding for research for their faculty members. So at least if we have researcher, we have funding from any sources, and we also build the infrastructure such as laboratory, equipment, and any other supporting element for researcher to conduct the research. So the quality of the research innovation will be proceed. And after the activities of the research of an innovation, of course, we expect the research output. Yeah. Now, at this time in Indonesia, we are in the period of call proposal for research funding from government, yeah, for research and community engagement funding for all university or faculty members, yeah, including Universitas Pamulang. You can apply the research funding provided by government. You can apply at least on 29 of October. So after you get funding, and of course you have researcher, you have infrastructure, and you do activity of the research and innovation, and then the output is expected to come up. Many research output, such as intellectual property right, scientific publication, books, product, prototype, all of the result of the research innovation activities, we can regroup into intellectual property. So all of the research innovation output, we can treat this as intellectual property, and we should manage the intellectual property resulted from research activities. The quality of the research output, the quality of the intellectual property will be proportional to the reputation of the researcher. More higher the quality of the research output, more higher the reputation obtained by the researcher. So very high quality will make the researcher has global reputation. Yeah. And then the intellectual property resulted from research activity also we must manage so that the intellectual property will be productive. The productivity of the intellectual property, such as, for example, patent or simple patent, if the patent can cover the claim behind the product or the technology, then the inventor, the researcher, will obtain the revenue, will obtain the income from their intellectual property. So the inventor and the researcher will get royalty from their intellectual property. And then the institution, the university also will get benefit sharing from the intellectual property resulting by the researcher. So the outcome we expect from the research innovation activities, not only the intellectual property, not only the research, not only the output, not only the scientific publication or intellectual property right, but how the quality and the productivity of the intellectual property can give an outcome. The outcome is reputation of the researcher, reputation of the institution, reputation of our country in case of research innovation, and also can give income and revenue from the intellectual property resulted from the research innovation to the inventor, to the institution, and the impact we expect the innovation-based economics, which can elevate the prosperity of our people. And this is the research innovation policy 2020 until 2024. We focus on the appropriate technology, value added and commercialization, and also the frontier technology and import substitution and local content. And in case of the priority of the national research, our research focus on food, agriculture, energy, and new renewable energy, health, pharmacy, defense and security, marine, engineering, product, transportation, socio-humanities, art and culture, education, and also multidiscipline. And our national research priority consists of 9 sectors: ICT, transportation, health medicine, new and renewable energy, agriculture, defense, advanced material, maritime, disaster, and socio-culture. So University of Pamulang can also drive their research master plan, uh, referring to our national research priority to to fit to your strength and characteristic. And then we have master plan. We have national research master plan 2017 2045, and then we have research focus on priority of the national research 2020 2024, and we have some super priority product of national priority research. And now we drive the super PRN, the super of research priority under research consortium. Yeah. So we have a target for some flagship products, and then in this consortium research we combine the sources, we combine the manpower, we combine the expert, and then we combine also the research facility, the research infrastructure, and also we combine the research funding. So if the research only do individually, so we have only a small number of expert, facility, and research funding. But if this managed in big research consortium, so we have many experts, yeah, and sharing facility of the research infrastructure, and also yeah, combine or the research funding also can be managed together, become more bigger. And this model will be due until the next 2024 under the flagship research for national research priority 2020 until 2024. And this is the example of the flagship 2020 until 2024. We have about 80 topics, 80 themes, and 416 topics under PRN 2020-2024. And then we evaluate this. So the by 9 focus, 30 theme, and 47 topics, we focus on 49 products under the national flagship research consortium. The funding 70% from government, yeah, and the orientation of the research and development, the university usually do or conduct research mainly in basic research, yeah. And then the research and development under consortium or collaboration, we can call this triple helix, pentahelix, yeah, many helix, yeah. This is applied research. We cannot do this alone. So under this consortium, we conduct we shifting from basic to applied research, and then we develop this for selected product which has which can give promising application and benefits, can develop into industry. And of course, it is not easy, yeah, to push research from laboratory into industry. So there is a dead valley. Yeah. We must make a bridge between laboratory in university and application product in the market. Yeah. So we must make a bridging between laboratory, and market. Of course, the basic consortium between university, government, and industry. This is the basic typical of consortium to bring the result from the lab into the market. And in order to make in order to bring the product from the lab into the market, we must drive the collaboration or partnership. Yeah, the collaboration and the partnership between university and university, university and industry, university and government, university, government and industry. Yeah, university, government, industry and society, university, government, society, and also media. Yeah. So why we should collaborate? Because by collaboration, we can promote the problem solving. We can share the expertise. We can share the skill and perspective. We can share the support and technology integration. We can increase the efficiency, build the social network, share responsibility, and also saving the time. Yeah. And in 2019, we has undang-undang uh, Sisnas Iptek. Yeah. This is we have in this undang-undang, in this national acts, there is a partnership, national and international, to develop science and technology and research and innovation network. And for international collaboration, yeah, by conducting the international conference just like this, we can initiate also the international collaboration. All the speakers attend in this meeting, yeah, we can make the follow-up meeting. We can make another activities. So, for example, Unpam, yeah, Unis Pamulang, and all the institution from the speakers and the audience can proceed also international collaboration after this international conference. Yeah. By, for example, joint supervision for the final project of the bachelor degree, master degree, or PhD degree. And then sharing session about research proposal, joint research proposal, research paper, manuscript, coaching clinic, and then also doing research together. Yeah. So for international collaboration, of course, everyone in the consortium should contribute, yeah, in cash or in kind. Yeah. And then the spirit of the collaboration is fair and equitable between each party. And also there is a benefit sharing, yeah, from the result of the collaboration. And of course, for the institutional collaboration, we need agreement between one institution and other institution. So the collaboration become official, not only because of the formal, informal relation between one researcher and another researcher. By make the collaboration become officially recognized by the institution, so from personal collaboration, it become more bigger, more larger scope for the collaboration. Not only specific research, but also can enlarge the scope of the collaboration between others research specialty, and also, yeah, for education collaboration, yeah, and many things from the institutional collaboration. And Beside the MOU, of course, we need a technical agreement. We need technical proposal for what we should do to implement the agreement. Yeah, more detailed activities, and many researchers come to Indonesia to do research because interested by Indonesian living land. Yeah, Indonesian biodiversity, marine biodiversity, yeah, forest biodiversity is very attractive for foreign researchers, and they come to Indonesia do research. Yeah, and of course we need a material transfer agreement (MTA) if there is a specimen from Indonesia bring abroad. Yeah, and also we must consider also the IPR agreement in the collaboration. The collaboration usually involve, yeah, the international consortium collaboration involve big research funding, yeah, and then not individual but big consortium research, and also usually multi-years. And in our ministry, we have one section who gives services for foreign research permit. You can access the www.frp.ristekbrin.go.id. If the Indonesian researcher or the foreign researcher, the partner of the Indonesian researcher come to Indonesia and want to conduct research, for example, in biodiversity, yeah, so you can proceed the foreign research permit, yeah, in this website. Yeah. Before we have a pandemic situation, the foreign research permit already online, yeah, online, all review by online, and this office already has standard administration and already standardized by ISO. Yeah. And this is an example of the result of the international collaboration between Indonesian researchers with their partnership all over the world. Yeah, this is in many research focus, yeah, from agriculture until social sciences, and we found that the international collaboration give higher citation number compared to our national average of the citation. Our national average citation only 2.3, and the international collaboration can give 7.4, 3 times higher than our national average on citation per publication. This is, and if we see the only national collaboration, only institutional collaboration, or single authorship, this below our national average on citation per publication. And the single authorship give the lowest on citation. And if we check the academic and corporate collaboration between university and international in industry and with multinational partnership, we can see the citation number is very much bigger than our national average, almost 20 times our national average on citation. And our publication profile in scientific publication in the last 5 years shows that in case in our ASEAN region, our scientific publication is number one. Yeah. But if we analyze the quality of the document, in case of the articles, yeah, we still in the middle. Yeah, we still in the middle. But if we check more deeper, yeah, the highest quality of the article, for example, Q1 on Simago or 75%, the best 25% site score we still on the bottom. So all total document we are the highest. So for the next 5 years, we should drive the quality. Yeah, we should drive the quality so that in case of scientific publication, more higher quality can be produced by our researcher. And Unibas Pamulang, by conducting this international conference on social humanity, we hope this can contribute into more higher quality on scientific publication for the faculty member in Unibas Pamulang and other faculty member who join this international conference. And moreover, if we check the art and humanities, yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, our publication is the highest, and if we compare, because we exclude China, China is very huge, giant. If we include China, our publication is, we cannot see the difference between all these countries. Yeah. In case of the article, in case of the art humanities, we still the biggest. Yeah. And we also can see, but in case of the highest quality of the article in journal, we still in the middle. So actually, the quality in social humanity who can produce the scientific publication in Indonesia, yeah, in case of the ratio, is still better than the science technology. Science technology produce the great number, yeah, but the ratio of the quality of the article, the art humanity is still better. And this is the scholarly output in art humanity on 2019, and this is the publication in top journal quartile. And for your information, Indonesian journal who already indexed by Scopus at this time, we have 72 journal, and we only have 6 who already in quartile 1. But 4 from 6 come from theology and social humanity. Yeah. So social humanity has a big potential for the quality. Why? Yeah, because Indonesian characteristic, yeah, is very unique, can give novelty for the research. Yeah, so please, for all people who their background in social humanity, please explore your strength and give and deliver the best quality of your result of your research and innovation. And this is the other list of the Indonesian journal who has indexed by Scopus and still increase. I already get news that the other journal last night, yeah, from University Wijaya, law journal already indexing. Yeah, also in social humanity for law. Yeah. Law is very rare. Yeah, and in our ministry, yeah, we have also program for big data of national research and innovation 2020 until 2024. Yeah. We have many subsystems, yeah, for this, from national journal accreditation, and then intellectual property, research prototype, yeah, database of the lecturer, etc. And in this system, Science and Technology Index, yeah, you know, now about 200,000 faculty member registered. So we synchronize by system, and we have data about 200,000 of the researchers of the faculty member already has already publication as an authors or co-authors. But we have more than 300,000 faculty members, so still ten thousands of our faculty member still only do teaching, yeah, not doing research. Yeah. So we must increase this number. We hope if every faculty member can do research and produce one publication per faculty member, we can produce more than 300,000 scientific publication actually. But of course, not only scientific publication, but we also push the recent innovation into appropriate technology and give product and prototype which can bring to industry. And there is some regulation to support intellectual property. Our government give incentive to our faculty member who can give high quality of the publication and high quality of the intellectual property. And this is the intellectual property productivity between 2015 until 2019. Yeah. More than 5,000 intellectual property already registered. And this is also interesting, yeah, from Balitbangtan, Kementan, Ministry of Agriculture, yeah, research center in Ministry of Agriculture reporting that uh, their intellectual property management reporting that more than 11 billion rupiah obtained as a royalty, yeah, from their intellectual property rights. So in the future, yeah, I hope Universitas Pamulang can also, yeah, now doing research and then deliver the output, yeah, and then the output will be drive into productive output, and someday maybe Universitas Pamulang can also can obtain benefit from the intellectual property of their faculty members. And this is an example of the benchmarking of IP productivity. Yeah. You know, this is interesting in China. Yeah. We can capture that in 2011, below 2011, the productivity of the scientific publication in China still higher than the intellectual property productivity. And in 2011, they can cross the IP can cross the scientific publication and become rapidly increase and much higher than the scientific publication. So if we see 2011, please remember by yourself, the in 2011, the product of the China we can found in the market. Yeah. Although there is some variation in the quality. And 2019, all of the Indonesian maybe still remember, in 2019, the product, the national product of the China, yeah, car, for example, come to Indonesia, and the market in Indonesia can accept, yeah, the car produced by China. Yeah. This is different with maybe 5 or 7 years ago. Yeah, we still cannot accept, for example, the product of the China, for example, car. Yeah, but no one hesitate or no doubt for the car produced by China. Yeah, in good quality. Yeah. So if we see this gap, yeah, if the gap between the IP and the paper just like this, it means the national branded product of that country will be found in the market with high quality, acceptable in the market. And we can see the Korea and the Japan, they already mature in this, yeah. But how about in Indonesia? In Indonesia, our scientific publication now is in good trend, yeah, increase. The IP still lower, yeah. So we have homework, yeah. All of us have homework, yeah. We should push the IP to produce more, and the indicator of the production of the IP, it's mean the research and the innovation is done. Yeah, everyone in university and also in industry. Yeah, the involvement of the industry will be indicated by the production of the IP, the intellectual property right. Yeah. So we expect someday, not so long, and of course, by your contribution as a faculty members in university and researcher in other institution, how to how to make our intellectual property increase very sharp and someday can cross the scientific publication. And we expect if we can get this phenomena just like in China, when our intellectual property productivity cross the scientific publication at that time, as a rule of thumb, our national branded product will be found in the market. And when the gap of the productivity become mature, at the time, as a rule of thumb, of our high quality of the national branded product will be found in the market. So we expect the time, actually. And this is an example. Propose the Leaping Lab of an active ecosystem by industry, from Destin, for example. They propose the Leaping Lab, the integration between the Living Lab for battery. For example, we have natural resources from battery, and then we develop university, and do fundamental research. And in this Living Lab, we produce the technology development and proof of concept of development, and then we connect with the Indonesian and global market to for spin-off, startup, joint venture, for example. And now we will discuss about Indonesian scientists diaspora. We have data of about almost 500 Indonesian scientists abroad. And now we start to connect the partnership between Indonesian scientists abroad with Indonesian scientists who work inside Indonesia at this time. And now we have COVID pandemics. Maybe this is blessing in disguise. Although we have pandemic COVID, but the recent innovation related to this issue
Tahu kalau udah tabrak hancur kan mana penghitungnya?
And then many collaboration in many appropriate technology, product or prototype related to COVID pandemic. And then there is also a research innovation funding scheme, collaboration between our ministry, DP and LPDP for international collaboration. And some product related to COVID-19 already produced. And also we would like to introduce Indonesia and multinational research collaboration. There is so many collaboration, but I don't take all in this slide. So I only highlight some. There is Indonesia UK by Newton Fund, Indonesia Netherlands by NWO, with France with Nusantara program, and we also have Asia program. It's many countries, Indonesia, Japan, and ASEAN, Indonesia, European Union, and ASEAN, and also and this is, for example, with Indonesia and USA, we have collaboration under Sustainable Higher Education Research Alliance. This is already ended in this 2020, involved 37 universities, 6 research centers, 5 local government, and this can give many results, not only publication but also product and prototype. And this similar joint collaboration between Indonesia university with top university in the world, we will drive this to make more and more international collaboration so that our researcher can have more equal partnership. And this is response to COVID-19, yeah, there is a consortium also, yeah, between our university, our research institute, and also many company, yeah, to do some research on appropriate technology and product for to respond to COVID-19. There is some program for prevention, medical and supporting equipment, screening and diagnose, medicine and therapy in this research innovation consortium program for COVID-19. And there is some product who already launched by our ministry related to this product. Yeah, there is convalescent serum. Yeah, and then AI to detect the COVID-19, the mobile lab, ventilator, PCR test kit, rapid test kit, immunomodulator, autonomous UVC, mobile robot, and power air purifying respirator. And also, our research institute, Eichmann, still doing very hard for, we call this vaksin merah putih. Yeah. Still on progress, yeah. They isolate uh, the vaccine from our origin Indonesian sources. And our government also facilitate the research and innovation product into market. Yeah. We have LKPP, yeah, by synergy between our ministry and LKPP, the product of research innovation in Indonesia can put into e-procurement, yeah, can put into e-catalog, yeah. So you can put into e-catalog, and then our ministry who need this product can buy the research innovation product in this e-catalog. This is such kind of the captive market. Yeah. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. I hope my explanation about our master plan, research priority, and then our performance on scientific publication, intellectual property, and and we promote the international collaboration between Indonesian researcher and foreign researcher. Yeah, so we expect this can give supporting ecosystem to increase the quality of the research, the quality of the innovation, and the quality of the output of the research and innovation, which can bring great outcome, yeah, for the researcher, for the institution, and for the country. Thank you very much. So I return this to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Professor. Give a big applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah for the very exciting talk today. Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah highlighted the status of the rule and policy in the National Research Innovation Program under the PRM 2020, and also the importance of national and international research collaborations, publication, intellectual property, and the current efforts today, and advances for research and innovation in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, guest and panel speaker, and now let's move on to the set of invited speaker presentations. The first presentations of invited speaker will be given by Professor Jung Jae Hyun. He is the Director Technical Engineering Program, King's or KEPCO International Nuclear Graduate School, South Korea. Also is the Digital Technology Program Director here, and Chief of King's Digital INC Institute or the ICRI. He also Executive Vice President, Korea Council of System Engineering. He was an editor also in Chief Journal of Korean System Engineering Society from 2014 until 2018. Also board member of Korean Nuclear Society. He holds a PhD in Nuclear and Quantum Engineering, KAIS, He was an engineering group supervisors for the KEPCO and team leader project development team for KAIRI, and is the NPP or nuclear power plant test engineer for core units 3 and 4 of KEPCO. Ladies and gentlemen, based on his experiences, Professor Jung will give us another practical and interesting perspective of future research and innovation here in the field of nuclear energy for sustainable development, as well as the role of education during the pandemic COVID-19. The title of his presentation is Future Technology for Nuclear Industry Facing Unprecedented Pandemic of COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Professor Jung today unable to present at this event directly due to another urgent commitments. He sent us a pre-recorded presentations that will be played by the committee, and he apologized as well for this inconvenience. Pak Ibnu, you may start the Prof. Jung presentations.
Good morning. How have you been in COVID-19 days? Pandemic is with us and we are encountering unprecedented era. Pandemic has changed our daily life a lot, which is presented by a keyword, untact. This webinar is an example to change of our way of learning and teaching. Distance and online lecture is getting popular. I have experienced online lecturing in the first semester in this year. It was totally a nightmare. But reflection of our period, I have realized that the nightmare was coming to me due to my unpreparedness. So, if I well prepared, it would be well. The COVID wouldn't be either avoided or mitigated. It will be with us. Therefore, we have to prepare a countermeasure against COVID. Dr. Saipul recommended me to deliver a lecture what might be prepared for this sudden change in the engineering education area. So, I would share some idea under the title of Future Technique for Nuclear Industry Facing Unprecedented Pandemic of Coronavirus 19. I will talk about the role of engineering education in parallel with this moment around MPP. Propulsion, desalination, fission material transmutation and research. KLT14, you can see the image on the left above, is Russian floating MPP for power generation, districting heat, and then desalination purpose. Batam, Indonesia has developed HTL reactor to generate the power as well as for hydrogen production. Ships, aircraft carrier, submarines are propelled by the nuclear power. In the roofs, RCS roofs, steam generator by the heat transfer within the steam generator, mechanical energy in the turbine, and the electrical power in the generator. All the primary components are protected by the containment structure. from the left side and down to the bottom. We call this path is downcomer, and the water is up. While the coolant is moving upward, the thermal heat is transferred from the nuclear fuel to the coolant. This is the first energy conversion. Pump within the vessel, so it is intrinsically safe against large local accident, where local stands for loss of coolant accident. First generation of MPP. IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, proposed the elements to be satisfied to the success of this generation. Economics should be highlighted to reduce the life cycle cost, sustainability, safety and reliability, physical and cyber security, non-proliferation factor, one through fuel cycle, international cooperation for resource sharing. But it is quite a difficult challenge around the nuclear power plant. The table shows the comparison what will be changed from third to fourth generations of nuclear power plant. A lot of change will be expected. Coolant won't be water if it is a first generation reactor, but metal or gas. For example, if it is sodium fast reactor, sodium just like salt will be used as coolant. High temperature gas will be used to generate hydrogen byproduct. In Korea, there are 4 building structures: containment, auxiliary building, turbine, and compound building. The MCR, main control room of APR 1400, there are 5 operators per shift, and 5 shifts are rotating. So total number of operators are 30. As you can see, it is fully digitalized. But on your left, there is a benchboard type console. We call this safety console. This is implemented by the conventional technology. The reason why? This component is necessary to provide the diversity of the control. Daiichi MPP has experienced an explosion. As you know that Fukushima Daiichi MPP Unit 1 and 2 is based on the General Electric first generation of BWR. It has small volume of primary containment, as well as it has short lead time for hydrogen buildup. So whenever the hydrogen is building up inside the confinement, it was explosion. It was vulnerable to the hydrogen buildup. But if in case of PWR, it has larger volume, so we have long lead time for hydrogen buildup, around 2 days. There are many challenges around the MPP business as shown on the slide. We have to have a competitive edge about the life cycle cost, and then the awkward national policy against the nuclear business. The enabling supporting infrastructure for the MPP, just like manufacturers and operators and maintenance company. effective regulations and licensing process. And the more significantly, the national financial condition is crucial. And mostly, we have to get some public acceptance. Time to talk about the future technology for the nuclear power plant. This is my idea, how we are able to accommodate and overcome the challenges around MPP as discussed above. I have thought it is possible by implementing digital transformation under IT convergence. There are 4 segments to be satisfied to realize this idea. The first is green technology, maximization of reliability, introducing knowledge-based technology, not only for the building up, but also the operation and maintenance. And then autonomous and automation, which will not only give competitiveness and maximize public acceptance. This slide shows what kind of green technology would be applicable to build the nuclear power plant. On your left below, you can see the job site for building up the basement for the nuclear power plant using the conventional construction process. But in the middle, there is a carbon nanotube. It will be the candidate material for building the nuclear power plant structure as utilizing 3D printing. On your right above, it is constructing building as in housing it. For example, they're utilizing the 3D printing technique shown below. The overall schedule from 48 months to 24 months. And since all the building structure is fabricated from the factory, Boeing company. So by utilizing the paperless production, we are able to eliminate all the unnecessary paperwork, but utilizing the computer-based simulation and modeling technique. But one of the examples to present today from this slide is for how the knowledge technique will be utilized by combining the modeling simulation technique with the software as well as with the 3D printing technique. On your left above, there is a 2D and 3D image from the computer-based design, and then those output will be analyzed by the computer-based simulation technique. Then there would be the 3D printing. The left below, it is nuclear supply system, RCS, reactor coolant system, by using 3D printing. And then after making the component, then it is time to stimulate it using the special environment, and then through the qualification and verification and validation, we are able to use it for the real project. The movie poster on your website, and it comes from the mobile entitled Wind Talkers. Yeah, and this is just for the encryption, as utilizing the Indian native language during Second World War. And then, just like this concept, we are able to use the quantum encryption technique for keeping the real-time reliability of sending and transmit and receiving the data. Or by installing the lattice sensors based on the MEMS, microelectric modular sensors. Yeah. And the triple diversity example for autonomous and automation environment. As in Airbus, we call it as airman system. It has satellite and radar waves for supporting the communications. And this work is for the operation and maintenance of the system. This is another example for representing the autonomous and automation example as utilizing the data integration and architecture framework, C4ISR, where C4I is for the communication, control, and computer, and then S is surveillance and reconnaissance, and it is military terms, just like if we are using the architecture framework for design and modeling, and then integrate the data within the nuclear power plant, then we are able to make an autonomous and then automation environment. On your right side, there is a charming girl wearing the head-up display. And this is a starting time to apply the VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality to the nuclear power plant. How we can use the agent system and autonomous robot. The left side, it is a genie coming up from the pottery to help the human by having as an order from his master. Like this, if there is an agent system to support so while we are operating and maintaining the nuclear power plant, then this system is very helpful to maximize the automation level. And on your right side, this is the robot to give information and to do a control and then to obey the order of the operator and maintenance guy. The interface, pictures are taken from the Ashimo robot advertisement, and which shows the controlling of Ashimo robot by human waves, and the human waves and brain waves correctors and sensors. The competition is quite important. I think it may come from the changing of the way of working. So now we are reading to gain know-how from the book. We are Googling to know of what. And we are searching the mobile, and then fundamentally know who has some information and knowledge, However, there is no why, right? So know-how can be obtained from the book or the theory or something and the paper, the like. However, know why is behind, but it has larger portion of the knowledge. Therefore, you have to go straight down to the know why for the purpose of becoming winner of the game. Slide section for covering the role of engineering education for pandemic crisis. I think systematic approach is crucial for understanding about the knowledge systematically. There are 3 sections consisting the knowledge level of 21st era against the pandemic crisis. The first one is learning about the discipline engineering principles, just like reactor physics, civil engineering, electrical engineering. And then at the same time, you have to have some management skill. So just like how can you control the schedule, control the cost, and then how can you control the engineering data. But the specialty engineering would be the subset of this composition of knowledge. For example, calculating life cycle cost and analyzing the reliability are crucial activity. But which technique will combine them together? It is systems engineering. So I would like to emphasize to get the systems approach while you are learning about and thinking about and implementing about some technological level. System approach can come true by system thinking. For example, there are 2 sections of system thinking. How can you define the problem? And how can you solve the problem? Solution finding is important. We have been educated to cover and to find the solution properly by solving the equation but it is quite limited to take an opportunity to learn about how can you define the problem correctly. Because there is a requirement to develop complex system as MPP. And for example, we are trying to develop the 4th generation of reactor. Who defines the problem around the 1st generation's nuclear power plant? It is up to you. And then we have to satisfy the stakeholders' needs. There are so many stakeholders, including Antinuk. And third one is defining problem during MPP life cycle. Finding and suggest solution systematically. And integrate verify all elements that are expected to be occurred throughout the MPP life cycle. Those are very crucial, and they have to combine together through system thinking. Now, this is an example how the project-based team teaching and team learning is possible. Team teaching is defined to teach in an interdisciplinary course involving several faculty members with multiple students, while team learning is collaborative learning within a team structure with common objectives, and goals with guided interaction. Are not sufficient to overcome the corona crisis. But this is one solution offered. It is branded running of online and offline technology. On your laptop, there is an online education class, and then making a video content ahead of the actual class hour, and ask the students to watch the video content during the class hour. But without offline hands-on, by student himself or with the facilitator or faculty, there must be an online hands-on. Because online education cannot deliver the full knowledge to the students, and it only gives limited information to the students. But that gap can be compensated by offline hands-on. So more importance to give and compensate the shortfall of online education is crucial. Thank you. This is the last slide, and thank you for your listening.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation, Professor Jung. Professor Jung Jae-chon showed us the very interested state-of-the-art high technology and digital innovation and nuclear power plant application. Also, the last one is the role of engineering education for pandemic crisis based on the blended learning. It's very interesting, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, if there are any questions about these presentations, we'll pass the question to Prof. Jung and we'll respond later on via the comments of our YouTube channels. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the last presenter today, the keynote speaker presenter today. We are very grateful today as invited speaker from Australia, Professor Nesimi Ertugrul. Professor Nesimi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks a lot. Let me briefly read the profile of Professor Nesimi. Professor Nesimi graduated with a Bachelor of Electrical Engineering in 1985 and Master of Science of Electronic and Communication Engineering in 1988, both from Istanbul Technical University. He also holds a PhD degree in Electrical Engineering from the University of Newcastle, United Kingdom in 1993. And talk about his experience is a senior professor of School of Electrical Electronic Engineering, University of Adelaide. He awarded various outstanding achievements here. He also has achieved remarkable major leadership activities and engaged with the industry to assist and enrich the research and teaching, such as for the topic of future battery industry, development of first mobile and flexible microgrid test system, autonomous vehicle research laboratory, developing the first renewable energy engineering degree in Australia as well, development of computer-aided automated test system, and development of the first computer-aided LabVIEW-based laboratory facilities on electrical machine and power electronics. And during his research, he has been actively involved in various grant funding and consultancy schemes, and he have obtained a total research income over 7.44 million Australian dollar. Also, it's a very remarkable achievement here. So, ladies and gentlemen, based on his experience, he will give us another diverse topic about the future research and innovation, especially in the field of renewable energy. Professor Nesimi?
Yes, I'm doing.
Time is yours. I think you will carry out the presentation as well with the PPT.
Oh, thank you, Sanjay. Thank you for inviting me, and then it's a great pleasure to share some of my experience. Let's open the slide first. Okay. Can you see the slides now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, the title of my talk is The Future of Renewable Energy. And then I will highlight what we have experienced. Some of the projects will be briefly touched, but just to fit into the same contents, I thought I should also summarize where it may go. It means that if we get too much renewable energy, everything will be okay. The reason is that South Australia, as I will explain later on, is in a quite unique status around the world. Therefore, our experiences somehow reflects also what the future will look like. Okay. Before I start sort of discussing the renewable energy in detail, I would like to share this slide with you, which shows an energy landscape around the world. This is somehow interesting because this is also giving us some insight where we are heading. If you, for instance, look at the percentage of the energy on the left vertical axis, and horizontal axis is the time. As you see there, as we also all know, the traditional wood sort of base energy was the first form of energy which we utilize for cooking and still doing in a sort of different platforms. And then coal came around 1900 and reached to the peak around it came earlier, but reached to the peak production as well as the energy share in the world around 1900. Then oil reached to the peak level around 1975. In fact, you probably see a little bit dip here, which was also some sort of oil crisis, which I also experienced. Since then, there is, as you see, there is a steady decline. The gas started again here, and other forms are includes the hydro. Hydro and the nuclear are somehow similar. Either capacity as well as the level of integration is not that much great. But what happened is something remarkable is that maybe I will say a few words also about the gas. Gas is about to reach to the peak around 2025, and then will start declining again. The remarkable part is the renewable energy sources, wind, mainly wind, as well as the PV, solar PV, started around 2000. This is also the time I start involved. Australia also involved heavily. And then since then, it's almost exponential increase. It is increasing in a greater scale. On the bottom left, it also shows you that levelized cost of energy, indicating that, yes, the wind as well as the utility scale solar PV can be very competitive, primarily due to the cost, but also the availability of the technology. To also highlight, of course, my talk is primarily on the electric energy level. Therefore, if you look at the electrical energy cost, this is also somehow indicates some sort of measures which I will discuss later on, as well as give you some direction where it may lead. If you look at your power bill, this percentage may change from country to country. Of course, depends whether it's privatized or government owned. But usually, roughly this sort of distribution is here. Unlike the very well-known fact that, in fact, the electricity cost is very low to generate, about 20% level. Rest is 80% is going all over the place. Right? This is something interesting. But most critical one is I would like to highlight here is this poles and wires. It's almost about 50% of the cost really goes to that direction. It means another question is that, and of course this one, electricity company cost, that also somehow includes the retail cost. It means if we target these two, we can provide as a low-cost energy. And of course, another key question is has to be reliable. Right? Reliability is, of course, key from the customer viewpoint. Okay, what else is changing when we look at here is something is happening. It may also, I try to also shape my talk somehow reflect the Indonesia as well as the warm countries platform. First of all, coal power stations, if you have any, I'm not quite clear what Indonesia's energy landscape is, they will go away. They will disappear, not because of that trend as I did show earlier, because they are also reaching to their end of life cycle. Demand is also increasing because the comfort increases, consumption increases, air conditioning, especially in Australia, quite large demand, especially in warm weather, where the demand gets significant grade, as well as the aging society. Society ages, comfort becomes more clear, and then air conditioning requirements gets even higher. But most critical one is the electric vehicles are coming. As the electric vehicles are coming, energy source has to come from some other form. Not everybody will generate their own energy, especially in environment where population is very dense. Of course, we have seen earlier, therefore, there is when you look at all the other trends, declining trends, it's clear that it should come from some other form, which we think is a wind and then PV are the major sources. And as I said earlier, PV system is already producing electricity at lower price than the grid. This was done in China. About 300 sort of site has been analyzed, investigated. Definitely the cost is lower than that levelized cost of energy is lower than the grid parity. And there are, of course, various issues with this PV systems or wind turbines, wind systems. Primarily, I will just stop at this discussion, is the intermittent. Their nature of intermittency is producing some significant issues and problems. To get you a little bit more, give you insight about where the South Australia stands, therefore our experience will somehow reflect, as I said, where the future will how the future will shape. We are currently in last year our annualized energy penetration is more than 50%. Especially if you consider the per capita, we are top of the list in the world. About 34% now is of South Australian houses dwellings has a rooftop PV installed, and still increasing. We already exceeded the renewable energy target, which was set in as 30% in 2017 by 2017, and then it was updated. It is clear that with these current trends, by the way, the government subsidy disappeared. All the government subsidy disappeared, still increasing because of the cost reduction. And then we will probably reach to 75% of annualized energy penetration. But saying that, I highlighted here, instantaneous renewable energy generation demand in South Australia already reached 100% occasionally. If the time is right, for instance, today is a very nice weather here, probably we will get a sun, but no one will be at home to utilize it. They will all go outside to the parks, and that level is probably the level, if there is a wind generation and a wind solar generation, we meet this demand. To also give you some other aspects to prepare you to the next discussions, and this red waveform is the one which we, for instance, captured using our system when this our battery storage system or microgrid platform, I will call it, was operating on a site nearby Adelaide. It's called Cape Jarvis, where the PV penetration was quite large. You see this is the active power here. This is the positive axis here. This is the negative. Means positive means power is flowing grid to the town. The negative means energy is flowing town to the grid back again. It's what we call it reverse power. I also plotted here, as you see, the solar irradiance by that particular day is a green one. There was some clouds you can see here, but usually started around this time, around 8, 9 o'clock. and then finish around for 5 o'clock level. And as you see here, you see during this time energy is flowing back, right? Reverse means looks like most of the energy not utilized is flowing back to the grid. Okay, this is a distribution level of study, means the household level, street level study. But the most critical one is also the transmission level study. This is a low duration section of the low duration curve is shown. Low duration curve is obtained by taking these power line per day, putting them from highest to the lowest number. If you plot them, we will also see some sort of negative, means what percentage of the day power was flowing in the reverse direction. As you see here, if you look at these colors here, since 2013, this is a transmission line. It's very unique. You may not find anywhere in the world. Even the power flow is going in the reverse direction in the transmission line from town to the main grid. These are, of course, it introduces various problems because the reverse power issue is quite critical to select the first of all fault current, and design of the protection relays and so on is quite significantly affected from these reverse power. And reverse power also increases the voltage either in distribution level or transmission level. It means the voltage goes, in fact, beyond the standard values defined. That's a problem. Another problem, especially in the transmission level, the transformers used in the system are usually designed to offer some changes, voltage variations using a tap transformer arrangement or on-load variation. And these are cycling more than before. Therefore, their lifetime is going down because they are originally designed to maybe change the voltage level from one voltage in the morning to another voltage, and then in the evening again change the voltage level again. But as you see, this is given 24 hours. These are measured data. How many times the transformer steps are changing? Because the power is flowing grid to the other side and then from other side to the grid, back and forth. Another impact is happening, especially when the renewable energy comes in more, is what we call it the power system inertia. Power system inertia is related to the rotating mass in large synchronous generators in the power stations. If the coal power or steam power or any other conventional power system is decommissioned or not operating in the system, there is no rotating mass to be able to respond to the frequency regulations. Therefore, frequency regulations becomes much more critical and then difficult as well as risky, which in fact happened in South Australia again in 2016. We had a very large blackout. If you are interested, you can have a look at that. There are some other effects are also, I did mention some of them here. I will provide these slides for your own consumption later on. I will share. You can have a look at it. But effectively, what I'm trying to say is existing PV systems, existing wind turbine systems are intermittent unless you take various actions, and also those actions are highly costly. It can put reduce the reliability of the system. Okay. And other issue, I will indicate that when the high penetration of the PV comes in, you may have also seen this one. People give some special name to this curve. This axis is the horizontal is a 1 day, 24 hour, and then vertical axis is the demand in that given site. It's called a duck curve. What happens in the conventional system like 2013, the demand curve was something similar to this, but as the PV comes in, this demand curve is going down, and it may reach to zero, even it may go to negative. What it means that we are generating our own power during the day. We don't need a power from the grid. This is one of the reasons also increases the energy costs, because we still have the same wires and poles to operate. However, and they cannot sell any energy. Therefore, some of the base power generators should operate and wait in an idle mode until somewhere this time here in the evening, when people come in or sun goes down, demand skyrockets to the peak value, highest peak, because that's also very challenging aspects. And other issue I will indicate that in terms of this, where the future is heading, is about the grid. Something is happening in the grid. What I would like to indicate that the traditional grid was an AC. I indicated in this table, I don't want to go to all of them, just highlight that this AC grid has a very undesirable features, many of them listed here. These are not desirable, however, we have it. Because we have it, we find certain measures to eliminate or reduce the impact. That's a costly, therefore the system cost goes up. As you see here, and as we also know that, in fact, electrical loads currently, almost all of them are DC. I cannot identify any AC load at all, except probably one, which is a cycloconverter used in very large machinery, or direct online motors. But direct online motor is not desirable because of their low efficiency. Therefore, everything is going in the favor of a DC. This basic structure of this current system is shown here, where the conventional generator comes here. In some cases, we have a high voltage DC transmission line. But the unique part is that all the renewable energy sources, even including the battery storage systems, they are all DC. We are inverting back to the AC just to connect it to the existing grid. However, again, if you look at a typical household, you see all the loads are also DC on one end. We are again rectifying the AC to get to the level to be used by the power supplies. Because of when you consider these aspects, and other developments are also happening, that almost all the distributed energy resources, solar PV, wind generator, fuel cell, supercapacitor, flywheel systems, stationary battery storage systems, electric vehicle to the grid systems, all involve power electronic converters, which has a DC coupled system, which is also isolated from either end. Therefore, you see, when in the future, it's likely that we will go to a DC grid, because DC grid will also eliminate all those negative impacts coming from the impedance characteristics, and then will reduce all those impacts introduced by the AC grid. And of course, most critically, system will become much simpler, easy to control, a stability issue will disappear, regulation will be much easier. And then also efficiency will increase, because in these systems, for instance, if I take the supercapacitor, for instance, or stationary battery storage system, power is flowing left to right, right to left. Each time when the power flows, we lost some of the energy. Therefore, that energy round trip efficiency will improve when we have a simple DC system. And here is some sort of structure of the future grid, how the future grid will look like. I think it is easy to say that even the conventional generators, large-scale generators, may be used in some locations, especially where the population density is great and then requires a loss of energy, or industrial sites, may be replaced, transformers may be replaced by the AC-DC converters, which I will briefly mention about that a little bit later. And then, as you see here, if you compare this figure with the earlier one, all I did is simply remove the rectification as well as the inversion converters, which adds additional losses to the system. Then also, I produced this slide to show you where it is heading, which I'm very confident to say that, as you may recall, that during Edison and Westinghouse conflict, let's call it, whether it's AC or DC, this is how it started around 1880s. In fact, these green ones shows the load centers, like a city or town. And this one, this colored conventional small generator is shown. They were putting one little generator next to every town to eliminate the mainly started from the street. Around 1900, because of the economy of scales, and the AC is considered is easy to convert due to the transformers and so on, we became centralized, and these big distribution transmission system idea, generation system idea occurred. People started making lots of money. And then currently, as I'm saying that, we are started to putting what I call it embedded microgrids next to each town now. Some of the town, especially in Australia, this is also applicable to probably countries like Indonesia, where the transmission lines can be very costly, and also difficult to maintain, which also reduces the reliability, increases the overall energy cost. We can easily disconnect those systems and then make an embedded microgrid using an available distributed energy resources, such as wind, such as PV, accompanied by a battery storage system or some other form of storage in the future. My prediction is that the near future, some of them will be disconnection, will become more and more. No need for grid connection. We have done some studies already. Even if in Australia, all the houses are single-story houses. Therefore, we have a significant roof spaces. In fact, if we cover the entire roof spaces we have done in some sites, we can produce much more energy than the consume energy. Some of those energy can be stored or given back to the grid or sold as well as make money, and then or utilized locally. And my vision is that in the future, it will become all probably purely DC. How do I feel this way? This is some sort of structure is showing here that like each household has a PVs, loads. I'm offering also proposing the rather than a household level battery storage, I think the community level battery storage is becoming very popular. We proposed this many years ago. In fact, just last week, I found that there was a news on California. California is also pushing the same concept. Rather than household level energy storage, they are now going to the community level. Community means multiple houses feeds to one large battery storage system. This bottom figure is showing the single line diagram of our microgrid platform. And this slide, I want to go a little bit quicker here because probably there may be various background people here. They may not be familiar to the issues. These lines, these green lines indicates the critical points in streets. These black lines indicates a street. Probably our houses are connected to some of those lines, distribution line. In an old system, when there was no PV, we call it heat map, voltage heat map, means color indicates, as you see here, whether the voltage is within the range or above the range. Okay. And then I'm also indicating that when the power flows, there are losses in the line. You see, if you look at here, when we use a PV system on the same side, everything becomes red, means going outside the range, means voltage in that community rises significantly. However, when we use a battery storage system in a community level, everything comes here. This is BES, stands for Battery Energy Storage System. Every voltage comes down to the standard levels. There are various techniques used to achieve this. One of the well-known one is the battery storage system. There are different battery storage technologies are coming in. This is showing energy density versus the gravimetric, the weight level energy density. There are different, as you see, these are the topology type of batteries we are using, lithium-ion graphite types, or some additives, and also silicon dominants are becoming possible. There are many other ones. Simply higher the energy density offers various other solutions. And other areas which I would like to briefly touch as well as excite some of the listeners that you all know the transistors. Transistors were silicon based so far. Now, within the last few years, it is changing. It's going to wide bandgap devices such as gallium nitride, silicon carbide types. These will, I believe, will revolutionize the entire approach on every level, such as. Hello?
Yeah, Professor, let's continue.
I'm hearing something, I thought.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Someone may just pass it by.
Okay. The reason, one very key point I would like to take from this slide is that in 2016, for instance, the vehicle charger was this big on the left-hand side. You can see the size of it. Okay. Within 3 years, in 2019, this charger or inverter, almost similar sort of structure, you can achieve 20 kilowatt system about this much power density, 60 kilowatt per liter. That's an incredible achievement. I believe what will happen, the electric, for instance, vehicles will not have chargers. In fact, the charger will be carried by the vehicle themselves, inside the vehicle. Right? This will also drive some other aspects. This is the benefit of those silicon wide bandgap devices slides. And then I will skip these ones a little bit quickly because this is also showing where the application of those devices will happen. The growth of these wide bandgap devices are also predicted in different areas. As you see, all these areas are primarily related to the renewable energy technology and electric vehicles. It's a significant development. We also have a few research projects working in these areas. This is the charger comparison is done. Very briefly, when we use these wide bandgap devices in power electronics and renewable energy technologies, we can reduce the energy consumption significantly, offer very high power density converters, including even the substations. Conventional transformer will disappear, will be replaced by the static versions. Less heat will be generated, less cooling requirement will be there, therefore smaller size in every level, smaller heat sinks, reduce air conditioning requirements, and also shorter term overload capacity because it also prevents the actions. Last two slides, I would like to conclude my. I obtained this slide to show you that where the job created by various power generation and storage technologies in renewable energy sector. These figures are related to your area, East Asia. There are many various areas are analyzed, and then it is also clearly showing that where the job is going to go ahead in different sectors. You see the PV, rooftop PV, wind, onshore, offshore, hydro, geothermal, and so on. As you see, these top few parameters is this section. And then also job in thousands, again shown here in specific jobs in the different sectors of manufacturing, local export, installation, maintenance as fuel area. I think these are simply slides indicates that where the future is heading, and I try to indicate some of the research aspects. Finally, I'd like to summarize that there are 3 major issues in power grid already happening, which entering more renewable energy will reduce the reliability, will put the security in danger. That also increases the energy costs, and then increased demand cannot be responded if we don't do some actions because it's coming, especially electric vehicles. And also community level battery storage systems can offer all these benefits. I don't want to go through again, responding to everything here you can think of, but most critically, probably it will offer a local generation, low loss, and then low energy cost. Not at the moment, but I think it will happen. Onshore wind farms has already reached their limits. Offshore hybrid systems are coming, means whether we can combine the offshore wind with the wave energy. We have also some project on this. And as I indicated, the renewable energy systems are already at DC systems. even in the market, you can find the diesel generators coming with an inverter attached at the output to make the system operate at maximum highest efficiency by taking the input AC and converting to DC and converting back again. By doing this, diesel generator is always operated at their maximum or more optimum range. And it's likely that the autonomous, as well as the autonomous, means it can regulate itself to the level you are set it. Multiple microgrids will come in. Each microgrid may have a different form of distributed energy resources. Of course, there are legal and barriers and then technical challenges to address. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Professor Nesimi, for the presentation, very interesting presentations. And ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the question and answer session. We have several questions here for Professor Harry, actually, from Pak Hasnanda.
Is it here or is it early? Can you repeat it or shall I? Okay, here.
I will read the questions, and one of the questions for you, I think, Professor.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. We have two questions for Professor Harry from the ministry. Unfortunately, Professor Harry is unable to stay with us until the end of the session, so we will pass the question directly to Professor Harry later on. Email him.
Sure.
And for the participants, you will get the answer later on in the comment of our YouTube channels. And for Professor Nesimi, we have a question here from Mr. Muhammad Bagir from iTech. The question is, according to you, Professor, what is the most interesting research on renewable energy resources related to IoT, Internet of Things technology, so we can have maintainable system on it, which is known real time now?
Okay. Let me just type something.
All right.
I just typed a website here. It's called aeskb.com.au. This stands for Australian Energy Storage Knowledge Bank, where you will find lots of resources which we already uploaded. We are managing at the university level, and indicating where there are various case studies and reports. It's simply describing our system, microgrid test platform, which we call it. We operated these. As we develop and more and then analyze the data, we also provide the data. What I was going to say, this system was equipped with the Internet of Things.
All right.
Okay, which we call remotely control the entire system, which we have done. You know Cape Jarvis, right? The way you go to the Kangaroo Island.
Yep, I've been Kangaroo Island.
One of the seminar, what we did, we controlled our battery storage system. How much power should be given to the town, or how much should be clipped, peak shaved, and analyzed? We could do it remotely. I think this is the area which is heading. In my view, I think that when the 5G systems, or even 6G, 7G, whatever will come next, I think we'll make all these things much easier and much practical. We definitely need, when I was talking about autonomous microgrids, imagine there are multiple microgrids in different locations. You can communicate them. You can tell them what to do in every stage. Adjust the active power, reactive power. This website will have more information there, especially for electrical engineering people. We can control the reactive power or active power to control the voltage or frequency autonomously without touching anything. It will adjust itself as the condition changes, like a load changes, even a nighttime probably line parameters changes, and then impedance of those lines may become significant, and then the system will adjust itself.
Okay. How about the maintenance system over there, Professor Nesimi? Are there any IoT approaches as well for the preventive, like that, for example, or corrective maintenance for our renewable energy?
Well, one critical issue with the battery storage system, especially grid-scale battery storage system, batteries really presents a little bit more risk, especially because of their explosive nature. There is a significant cost goes to a battery storage sections, which is separated. For in the case of a failure or fire, you have to put the fire down as well as to prevent the gas to come out and so on. Extinguish the fire immediately. This system is very costly, but you should have it. What we have also in the system, we monitor everything. If you think about the grid side, the generator side, the battery side, and every battery side may also have a certain temperature. We monitor all of them. Right? We set different threshold levels, saying that if this happens, say that, and then we monitor remotely. Of course, there are local actions. If something goes wrong, it will act itself. But yeah, there is a remote monitoring options. And theoretically, you don't need to do any maintenance because there is nothing moving part. Only maintenance probably will come if some of the batteries or battery packs degrades over time. You may say that I'm going to replace it.
Okay.
Right? That's probably the only possibility. Apart from that, that maintenance can be carried in nighttime, as an example, if you see that, or a nearby microgrid system. Other issue will come that when these systems develop well and then there are more and more around, probably maintenance costs can become a regular activity. Someone may serve hundreds of them at the same time because you are remotely monitoring them. You know what's wrong where. You don't need to attend anything unless anything wrong. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Professor Nesimi. I think, do you have any suggestion for us? Because here we just started it is a new university year, about for our students and for our curriculum for the future, I think, in terms of how to develop renewable energy, for example, for electrical department, mechanical department, or chemical department. Do you have any suggestion or advice for us how to develop our curriculum for students, or let's say what kind of project should be started here and what kind of research should be started here to really deep go into the renewable energy in the future?
Well, I think it's an interesting area. I think you know that my background is power electronics. I started with the electric machines and motor control aspects, but I wasn't sort of foreign to the technology. I was following up actively. It changes. It changed to a level that I think the renewable energy sector is as I did show in the second slide from the last before the conclusion, that there are these figures. Job prospect is all around the renewable energy sector in different levels. I suggest students also should look at those ones and identify the sections which they will feel comfortable. That includes the IoT, that includes communications, signal processing, programming, and power electronics, even the economics.
Wow.
And even the legal part. If someone wants to work on the legal part, if they are doing double degree, they need to know the system. Without knowing the system, understanding the system restrictions, you cannot put the legal restrictions or define the standards. That's out. And it's also changing every day, every year. I will tell you, just last week, I keep telling South Australian Power Network, which is the local distribution system, changed the rules. Therefore, they said that you cannot connect anything to the grid anymore unless if it's a smart inverter.
Wow.
Smart inverters comes with the communication. My view is, if you want to design anything, you should probably design the basic courses. I offer some of them. I can share with you. Distributed Energy Resources course, where I discuss details. Power electronics, another one. Power system related courses and economics courses. Maybe all around that you can define the other ones, including the signal processing. IoT should definitely be there. Power system security should be there. Energy economics should be there. I can think of.
Okay.
And then, of course, you should easily also accommodate the I will call it drive systems, like covering the electric vehicles. By the way, don't restrict the electric vehicles only. The one vehicle which is going on the road. Consider the biggest intake will become from probably fuel cell driven, still electrical buses.
Okay. That's for chemical students. It's very interesting, I think. Yeah.
Correct. Buses and then trucks will come. They are happening. It's not there yet, but it will happen. It is also linking. One final thing I will say, because I also learned during this COVID pandemic stage, because we were all doing online courses. I'm still doing. We will do next year. It will be also online. Okay. What I learned is that we should all those courses and assessments should be a system level. I would like to give the assignments and assessments, everything should be not an old style of questions and answer. Rather, because these especially renewable energy sector is very suitable for a system level assignment. Right? I would like to give a system level, few assignments, major assignments. They should work themselves. I don't support the group activity personally because it's difficult to measure. Individually, each student will get some sort of system description within a range saying that do this assignment. They do great work.
Excellent. That's good. Thank you so much, Professor Nesimi. The last thing I think, you mentioned about the online learning, sort of like that. If I'm not mistaken, do you have any experience in South Australia, how to carry out the online learning during the pandemic, or are there any blended learning, and what is the challenges and solution for us as the engineering student, engineering lecturer as well? Because we can attend the face-to-face or offline courses during the pandemic.
I think I had an experience, different levels. I listen other people and so on. Of course, everybody has their own individual personal view. Okay. However, my son is also studying at the university. I also asked him. He's in Monash. Wow. The Monash was in very difficult. Melbourne is in a difficult state.
Melbourne, yeah.
And therefore, they couldn't go outside. Therefore, during that time, I talked to him and then asking university aspects. The one I also experienced. It seems to me that in the future, the students will like to have, probably will become a norm, I feel, that they would like to study on their own time.
Okay.
Right? All right. Therefore, you may still have, we should, of course, engineering definitely should have a face-to-face laboratory practice. I don't think anything can replace that. Even if you do, although I did some work on the online sort of experimentation aspect, nothing can replace the real things.
Yes, I agree.
And also resources becomes too expensive to everybody should have it. Yet, in the future, you can study Internet of Things at home, okay? The experimental as well, but not some of the experiments. Therefore, I feel that when the students in this assignment, larger assignment base, manage their own time, it seems to be better learning platform, I feel. Of course, we have to be careful about the plagiarism.
Okay.
Right. Therefore, we have only. I think the careful thinking should be done. Make sure that we avoid those holes. We don't allow them to do plagiarize.
Of course, yeah.
There is still a room that. How do you know who did the work?
Yep.
That's another aspect. But there are way to check it. You can check it. You can put different type of quizzes and very quick answers and short term, which I want to do next year. Like I want to do one final review. It will become a multiple choice. After all the assessment, at the end of the semester next year, I will do. I want to do one attempt, just single attempt, and review examination, which is all multiple choice. This. Is it true or false, or what's the number here? And then they have to go through all. at least to review the whole things. This way you can also review the material. And I guess I find also when they work on the certain assignments, they involve more and then they like the topic more because they pick up something, they learn something. They may also find some area which it may be their own interest. Not everybody likes what we are talking.
Okay. Very interesting, Professor Nassimi. Okay, I think the time is up for you. And ladies and gentlemen, let's conclude our session for Professor Nassimi. Give a big applause for Professor Nassimi Ertugrul from University of South Australia, University of Adelaide, South Australia. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now reach the end of the keynote speech sessions. I would like to a little bit give a conclusion here. Professor Heri Hermansyah is from the ministry highlight the importance of research to improve the quality of researcher itself and the institution, our nation in general as well. The successful program can be implemented under national research priority, and we may gain the support of the funding as well from the government under various schemes. For example, the INSINAS, LPDP, or PPTI. The collaboration with industry, not only in basic research, but also in applied research is very important for the future. And the second one, the intellectual property, indicates the productivity and the quality of the research, and national product will increase in line with the increase of the intellectual property. And the ministry now carry out various research innovation in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Professor Jung from Korea, he highlighted the state-of-the-art high digital technology and the innovations to increase the safety and design performance of the nuclear power plant applications, and to overcome any difficulties in engineering education during the pandemic crisis. He proposed also based on the blended learning, utilizing various current technology in digital area. And Professor Nassimi, thanks again, Professor Nassimi, for coming here. If the pandemic is over, I think I would like to invite you coming to Indonesia next time. Professor Nassimi highlighted the major issue of renewable energy penetration, energy costs, the increasing of demands, and also the future of the challenge here, such as the current status of embedded microgrid and transformation towards the DC grid and advancement in large battery storage system for small communities. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we conclude our sessions, and thanks again to all speakers today. Professor Dr. Heri Hermansyah, STMN, Professor Jung Jae-hyun from Korea, Professor Nassimi Ertugrul, PhD from Australia, and we wish you all the success in your work in future. I may also thanks for the audience in this keynote speech sessions. I hope you enjoy the program, and I look forward to your participants in the participation in the parallel room seminars. We would like also to extend appreciation for the organizer, University of Pamulang, and other co-host organizer, to the team, and those who are contributed to conduct these sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, stay healthy, have a good day, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I'm handing over the floor to Miss Eka, as the master of ceremony. Thanks, Eka. Thanks, Professor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Saiful. Well, thank you very much for the keynote speaker, Professor Heri, and the invited speakers, Professor Jung Jae-hyun and Professor Nassimi Ertugrul, for the fruitful knowledge. And also thanks again to Mr. Saiful Bahri. So once again, thank you very much for the knowledge you have shared with us. And we hope all of the interesting topics in this forum will be beneficial for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of the main agenda for ICORST and continue to parallel session. So let us end the main agenda by saying Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, for the parallel session is to be held on the 8 separated room, and then will be started at 1 p.m. We would like to invite all parallel presenters and participants to join with the session based on the schedule attached, including the meeting ID for joining the room. We also kindly invite for all moderator in parallel session to fix the preparation and enter the room 30 minutes before the times and be prepared for the equipment. We will have a break for at least 1 hour and kindly join with our meeting at 1 o'clock. As a reminder, the conference for ICORST will be held tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. and you may enter the room 15 minutes before the time. Once again, we thank you for your fully attention and appreciation. I'm Eka Margianti as a Master of Ceremony. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Kak.
Sama-sama Pak, disilakan kepada moderator, Bapak-bapak moderator, juga Ibu-ibu moderator, disilakan untuk mempersiapkan diri untuk parallel session. Ya, ada 8 room terpisah dari parallel session, dan kepada seluruh peserta atau parallel presenters, all participants disilakan untuk join the schedule, based the schedule. Ya, ini jadwalnya sudah terlampir. Silakan dicek kembali meeting ID dan Bapak Ibu bisa masuk ke dalam Zoom meeting sekitar 30 menit sebelum pukul 1. Jadi sebelum acara dimulai, silakan Bapak Ibu untuk masuk ke ruangan masing-masing dan moderator akan memberikan absensi di ruangan tersebut, dan juga disilakan mempersiapkan diri untuk slide PowerPoint. Ya, Bapak Ibu disilakan untuk mempersiapkan slide PowerPoint-nya, dan juga apabila terjadi koneksi atau unstable connection, Bapak Ibu bisa meminta bantuan dari host atau moderator untuk share screen. Terima kasih, demikian dari saya, Master of Ceremony. Sampai berjumpa kembali. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Bu Eka. Pak Saiful, terima kasih.
Pak Ali.
Terima kasih Pak Ibnu. Baik. Prof Saiful, sukses. Luar biasa.
Lah jadi ngomong sendiri saya.
Mantap,
Terima kasih Prof.
Pak Dekan mantap.
Oh, makasih Pak Marizal.
Pak Ali juga mantap Pak Ali.
Siap, makasih
Iya.
Pak Prof. Prof Mai Rizal.
Insya Allah, amin.
Selamat, ya.
Terima kasih Pak Ali. Iya, makasih.
Dokternya.
Iya, anak guyur Pak, mungkin nyicil dulu Pak.